Good afternoon, and welcome to the December the 17th, 2021 meeting of the Select Committee on Redistricting. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Representatives Camper, Crawford, Faison, Freeman, Hazelwood, Hicks, Holzclaw, Lamberth, Parkinson, Russell, Vaughn, Whitson, Williams, Wendell, Vice Chairman Marsh, Chairman Johnson.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. This meeting marks the culmination of this committee's work on the redistricting plan for the Tennessee House of Representatives. Today, we will hear from Tennesseans who have submitted plans to this committee and from members of this committee who have developed plans. Before taking those up, I'd like to just mention how we got here. In January of 2021, the House launched the House Redistricting website to ensure that citizens had a point of contact for redistricting prior to the delivery of the census data. This is the earliest redistricting web page that has ever been established. On August the 25th, 2021, Speaker Sexton appointed the 16-member committee. This is the first ever bipartisan redistricting committee in the history of the state. This committee held meetings in September and October where we heard directly from Tennessee citizens concerning redistricting and the redistricting process. This committee has held more public meetings than any previous House redistricting committee. Throughout this process, I, as well as my staff, have been consistently open and available to discuss redistricting and hear from the concerns of citizens and citizens groups, whether in person, by email, telephone, or Zoom. And despite the compressed timeline caused by the federal government's unprecedented delay in the delivery of the 2020 census data, this committee has worked diligently to develop fair and constitutional redistricting plans, and I thank each of you for being a part of this effort. Finally, by proceeding with these concepts today, Tennessee citizens will have over 100 days to become familiar with the new state house districts prior to the April 7th, 2022 qualifying deadline. With that said, I'd like to ask Mr. Doug Himes to assist us with the presentation of the redistricting plans. Mr. Himes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, members of the committee. My name is Doug Himes. I'm the ethics counsel for the House and also the counsel for this committee. Today, under this agenda item of the presentation of plans, there's three sets. There's the public plans that were submitted to the House, and these would be the 4 state House plans. And after that, member submitted plans that I believe Representative Freeman has a plan to offer. And then finally, the committee plan, which I believe Speaker Marsh will present. The public plan submissions, I'll go through them in the way they were sent to us, and the evaluations for all the public plans, not only these 4, but the congressional and the one Senate one we received, are all available on the webpage of the committee. And additionally, just so you know, on dashboard, the plan that Representative Freeman will present and the plan that Representative Marsh will present has been loaded in the dashboard and should be loaded on the dashboard. And those evaluations are located there and will be put up on the web page at a later date, and I can project them here if you'd like to see them as well. But to start with, it's the public submitted plans. And Mr. Brett Windrow of Davidson County submitted a plan through Representative Freeman. He is not here today, and I've conversed with Representative Freeman. He sent Mr. Windrow sent us a statement, and I'll read that statement to you on behalf of Mr. Windrow. And sorry, I thought I put this up there just so you can see it. Hello, by way of introduction. Sorry, I'll start over. Hello, by way of introduction, the comments here are by Brett Windrow, Nashville attorney and Tennessee native, originally from Cookeville. I would love to be here in person today. However, due to prior family obligations, I am unable to attend personally. While not a demographic or cartographic expert, it's been a long day of speaking, as a citizen in person who has a stake in multiple parts of the state, I wanted to have my input on, at the very least, the principles by which the state's districts are drawn. First and foremost, the principle I use is to maintain similar communities together. I cannot guarantee I did so, but I made my very best effort. On that note, I would like to bring attention to the fact that citizens must draw the entire state rather than individual districts or areas with which they are familiar, at least if they want their suggestions on the record. Obviously, individuals can make suggestions to individual representatives, but if that individual is either an unscrupulous incumbent or partisan hacks, descriptions which thankfully I can comfortably say don't apply to my legislators, Representative Freeman and Senator Campbell, then such requests may well have been said. Comment concern aside, the idea of keeping communities together is a key concern. There has been indication in the press that some legislators desire to split or otherwise contort communities for vital political purposes, particularly my adopted home of Nashville. Despite differences between communities, Nashville at the end of the day is one cohesive whole, with common political interests at the state and federal level distinct from nearly all of the areas surrounding it, Northeast Rutherford County being the sole potential exception. As a national transplant from rural Tennessee, I can assure this committee that such a move would disenfranchise the people of Nashville proper. Furthermore, amongst the people of rural Tennessee, such a move would contribute to a view that this body and politics as a whole is not a noble argument of ideas, but a mere power play and destroy the reputation this body has in the long term. Beyond this, I would like to preempt a few arguments made by those who bring less than noble principles to the redistricting process. I have heard the use of actions in other states as justifications for adverse actions. This patently ridiculous schoolyard logic can be facially disregarded, except to say, by way of analogy, that when two people commit a crime, one is not justified by the other's action. The docket is only lengthened. Similarly, some seek to use the actions of past General Assemblies to justify current circumstances. Besides the same analogy still applying, I would like to note to this committee that the last time the current opposition party controlled the redistricting process was 2000, a time when this comment's author was halfway through his first semester of kindergarten. On my life, that such old wounds can continue to affect current policy is nadir to pettiness. I would implore this committee to consider to only base their redistricting decisions on legal, geographical, communal considerations and the like, to draw based on political or, heaven forbid, racial, ethnic considerations disguised as political considerations would damage the reputation of this great body, disenfranchise those in both rural and urban Tennessee, and contribute to disintegrating state and national political dialogue. And that is the end of the written comment from Mr. Brett Windrow. The second public submission that the
Representative Freeman, did you have something?
No, I want to make note that there was going to be several here that were submitted through my office, and some came from conservatives, some came through progressives or Democrats, and I did not self-select. I submitted every single map that came out as I felt it was my duty. And so I just wanted to make that comment before we continue down the line.
Chairman Vaughn?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Is this when can we ask about this specific submission? Is this-
If you would, just hold your questions until we get to the end.
All righty.
If you don't
Thank you,
mind.
sir.
Mr. Himes?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just going to the webpage, if folks aren't familiar with it, under documents, you can see the plan evaluations for these for all the ones that were publicly submitted, including these 4 plans. And here's the house concept by Mr. Windrow. Its overall range was 24.23%. With a high of 11.48, negative 12.75 is the low. Splitting 26 counties, but many of those were double splitting counties. It's not contiguous. It has unassigned areas and pairs 46 incumbents. So that might help with maybe some of the questions. The second submission the House received for a state house plan was from the Equity Alliance and Memphis A. Philip Randolph Institute. And I'll put the plan on the board. Mr. Speaker, I received as indication as we walked in that they were not here to present this plan. So I'll just have it there. And what I'll do is go to the evaluation of this plan. And this is the Equity Alliance and Memphis A. Philip Randolph Institute House concept. It was submitted through Representative Harris. It's a statewide plan, 99 districts. There's 2 majority districts. The overall range was 9.75. The high and low is 4.86, a negative 4.89. 30 counties were split. Again, there's some issues with the way those counties were split. It is not contiguous. There are no unassigned areas, and it paired 30 incumbents. The next plan that was submitted.
Mr. Himes?
Yes, sir.
Did Representative Harris want to speak on this?
If he's behind me, he indicated that he did not want to, but if
No, he said no. Okay, sorry.
So the third public submission was by Mr. Zachary Wishart, and it was through Representative Carringer. And rather than pull that map up, I received emails from both the citizen and the legislator that they would like to have this plan withdrawn.
Without objection, withdrawn.
And then the final public submission was a group of citizens, I believe, from Memphis. And I'll get to the evaluation. I'll pull up the map. And this was submitted by Mr. Cardell Orrin, Harris Newton, Jeffrey Lichtenstein, and Kermit Moore through Representative Hardaway. In 99 districts, 10 majority-minority districts, it had an overall range of 19.28. The high was 9.58. The low was 9.70. Split 58 counties. It's not contiguous. It has unassigned areas, and it paired 20 incumbents. I reached out to all the folks that submitted plans and asked them to respond to me by this past Tuesday. I did not hear back from the citizens that submitted this plan. I do not know if Representative Hardaway is behind me. He indicated that when I did see him, that he probably would not say anything unless he received something from the group. So you all will tell me if he's behind me or not. So if he is not, unless you want to see here's the map if you'd like to see it. But that concludes the public submissions, Mr. Speaker.
All right, thank you, Mr. Himes. We have a member that has a plan, Representative Freeman.
Thank you very much. So I can probably just start without the map. So the Democratic House Plan is a strong and fair map that tries to keep more communities together. It honors the federal and state constitution and respects the will of the voters. First and foremost, this map adheres to the federal state constitutional requirements of one person, one vote, or substantially equal district populations. Under this map, the average House district is within about 2% of the target population. The largest deviation under the target population is 3,311. That was in Washington County, and I will note that that county was kept whole. The largest deviation over the target population is 3,473, which is in Hamilton County. Once again, another county that we try to keep whole. The 9.72 population deviation is within the window of what courts have deemed permissible in the interest of reducing splits. So let's talk a little bit about county splitting. As you know, the Tennessee Constitution prefers keeping counties whole. Article 2, Section 5 reads, "In a district composed of 2 or more counties, each county shall adjoin at least one other county of such district, and no county shall be divided in forming such district." The U.S. Supreme Court's 1962 Baker v. Carr decision, which provided the one person, one vote standard, forced Tennessee to split counties to equalize district populations. Still, this map takes great care to reduce county splits in the overall plan. In this proposal, 72 counties are kept whole, while only having 23 county splits. I think you showed 22 in your review. I'm correct. Yeah, okay, got it. Compare that to the current map from 2012, which only keeps 67 counties whole and 28 county splits. This map actually unsplits 10 counties from the current map. And of the 23 county splits made in this map, 18 splits are carried over from the existing map. This map makes the fewest county splits since the Baker v. Carr ruling. I'd also like to talk a little bit about minority representation. This plan attempts to ensure Tennessee's minority groups have equal access to our shared political process. There are 22 districts included in this proposal where voters who belong to minority groups could influence the outcome of an election. 13 of those are majority minority districts, and 9 are minority opportunity districts. And let me explain how I come up with those numbers. Of the 22 districts, 13 are effective majority minority districts where the group of minority voters represents more than 50% of the voters in that district. There's 1 in Hamilton County, 2 in Davidson County, 1 in rural West Tennessee, and 9 in Shelby County. Some similar version of these 13 minority majority districts also exist in the current state house map. Additionally, there are 9 minority opportunity districts. These are sometimes referred to as crossover districts or influence districts. These are districts where non-white voters account for more than 35% of the voting age population, but less than 50. The rationale is that even a significant voting bloc of minority voters could influence an election. These minority opportunity districts are located across the state. There is 1 opportunity district specific to Black voters in Shelby County, 2 districts in Davidson County that have non-white voting minorities, and there are 6 additional minority opportunity districts where a coalition of non-white voters represent more than 35 but less than 50% of the voters. There are 2 in Rutherford, 2 in Montgomery County, 1 in Davidson, and 1 in Shelby. I want to make sure and note that while the Voting Rights Act does not require states to create new coalition or influence districts, the United States Supreme Court continues to recognize that creating and maintaining such districts is part of how states like Tennessee can comply with the Voting Rights Act. While creating this map, I try to keep cities and communities whole. As the Tennessee Constitution calls for, we drew lines using geography, and political subdivisions such as cities and towns as much as possible to try and keep communities whole. From Maryville to Millington, our staff has identified at least 35 cities and towns that are unsplit by this map versus the current map. In many places, our district lines follow boundaries that make much sense to voters, such as major roads, rivers, and city limits. During the last several months, we have had several public meetings and sought public feedback. They shared their ideas about what their communities look like and the needs that they have. We collected these thoughts from citizens at meetings and through the comments that were presented during this ad hoc committee, and incorporated those comments and thoughts into the plan. Using traditional redistricting measure, this map scores better for compactness than the existing map. Perhaps just as important, we tried to make sure every district passed the you know it when you see it test. Aside from the unavoidable issue in Upper East Tennessee with HD House District 3, this map passes the eye test for compactness. We also respected historical boundaries. We tried our best to keep intact the core of existing districts wherever possible, to respect the voters who have history and familiarity with their districts. To that end, this plan attempts to minimize incumbent pairings. Despite vastly uneven population growth and population declines in 30 counties, there are only 4 incumbent pairings on the statewide map. I think there was a difference there in your review, and that's having to do with, I think a couple of members have moved, but their listed address on the website keeps my statement accurate. As a general rule, incumbents were only paired in situations necessitated by population variance or a county split. Every 10 years, the Constitution requires us to put together a difficult puzzle the best we can. We believe we put forth a fair map that keeps more communities together and respects the will of the voters. It's a constitutionally sound plan that results in the fewest county splits since the 1960s, low population deviations, and it preserves the ability of minority voters to elect their preferred candidates. And then I'd like to address one thing in Shelby County, and that's in regards to the unconstitutionality part and the Lockhart case. There's still one more issue, you've been given a document stating that this pairing is inconsistent with Article 2, Section 5 of the Tennessee Constitution, which prohibits splitting counties to form multi-county districts. But this proposal only splits 23. That would be the fewest county splits in the House redistricting plan since Baker v. Carr, which I've already said. The House district map intentionally connects Shelby County and Fayette County with House District 94 for the purpose of equalizing districts in both counties, avoiding unequal districts or county splits elsewhere in West Tennessee, and preserving the vote and power of minority groups in Shelby County. Why has it been common practice to keep large urban communities whole? In 1983, the Tennessee court held Lockhart v. Crowell that it is constitutional to divide a large county when a certain unique conditions are met. The Supreme Court stated they would not foreclose the possibility that detachment of a single part of Shelby County might be justified by either the necessity to reduce a variance in adjoining district or to prevent the dilution of minority voting strength. Currently, Shelby County has 10 effective districts where minority voters could presumably influence the outcome of an election, 9 majority-minority districts, and 1 opportunity influence district. There's a feeling that there's going to be a reduction of seats in Shelby County from 14 to 13, and that would create a reduction potentially of this opportunity district, which allows the map to eliminate the majority-minority district and the views of that opportunity district. The Supreme Court's decision in Lockhart is important, but it's also but this proposed map also is validated by the Tennessee Constitution and the U.S. Constitution's Equal Protection Clause. The U.S. Constitution requires a one-person, one-vote, equal population standard with an allowable variance and state law requires districts that are substantially equal in population in accordance with the state constitution. By splitting Shelby County in our map, we are better meeting the substantial equal population factor than a map that chooses to keep Shelby County whole. Under this proposal, Shelby County is neither overrepresented nor underrepresented. Instead, it ensures that Shelby County receives equal representation. Also, by splitting Shelby County in our proposal, we reduce the overall number of county splits from the current map dramatically. And that's pretty much all I've got. I'd love to answer any questions anybody has.
Mr. Himes?
Yes, Mr.
I
Speaker.
didn't know if you wanted to comment. Okay. Any questions for Representative Baum?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and to my colleague who I hold in such high esteem. He is talking about my backyard, so that did get my attention. And I'd like to know what, as we endeavor to keep things constitutional throughout this process and hopefully have a map that can be defended against any challenge, I'd like to know what our council's position is on this map with regards to, I know there was some talk about, well, and my colleague is a great salesman. He huh? And seldom in doubt. And so whenever, I'd like to hear what your perspective is on the presentation that he gave with regards to the constitutionality of the presentation.
Thank you, Representative Vaughn. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Mr. Speaker, I apologize. Thank you, Representative Vaughn, and thank you, Representative Freeman. And I put up on the screen the evaluation that we've done for all the plans. And I don't know if it ever got on dashboard, but I think you all got copies of it maybe, or it's on dashboard. And I would point out that I do believe that this plan says that there's 15 pairings. And I think there was an address in the 3rd district, which was the issue. And I agree that it should be down a little bit as the county splits. This evaluation notes, and I'll read it to you. There's 23 splits, but the split of Shelby County appears to violate Article 2, Section 5 of the Constitution as interpreted by State X-Rail Lockhart v. Crow, 656 Southwest 2nd, 836, which is Tennessee Supreme Court, 1983. Lockhart's decision, and I'll read you the holding, the relevant part. Turning to the limitation on dividing counties and creating House districts, we think an upper limit of dividing 30 counties in the multi-county category is appropriate, with the caveat that none of the 30 can be divided more than once. In addition, with respect to the 4 urban counties, we have left open the possibility of a small split per county only if justified by the necessity of reducing a variance in an adjoining district or to prevent the dilution of minority voting strength. I think the statement that this appears to violate the Article 2, Section 5 is correct. I would suggest by adopting a plan that split Shelby County, that you would be creating a litigation risk. You can accomplish, this isn't a small split. It's 27,173 people. So it's not a small split, which is, if it's necessitated, and I would say it's not, to satisfy the second issue of an exception for Lockhart, the prevention of dilution of minority voting strength, you could draw a 14-district Shelby County within a 10% deviation and maintain the boundary. I think that would be the comments I'd have.
All right, thank you. Representative Freeman.
Thank you. And I apologize for speaking out of turn a second ago. I won't do that again. I do want to address the incumbents being paired together. And while your number is accurate, there's several of them. I've got Representative Campbell's address as a different address that does not pair, along with Representative Holzclaw's address, meaning that they're not pairing up. And then in District 65, one of the incumbents has announced he's not planning on running again. In District 74, one of the incumbents has announced that they are not running again. And so while that is a today factually accurate statement, I actually have that it's 8 incumbents or 4 pairings. And I'd also like to go back and address the dilution of minority voter strength. And while it can be stated accurately that there's a way to create the same number of majority minority districts, the Supreme Court has stated that opportunity districts need to be represented and looked at in the same manner for minority representation and having a voice in the outcome of an election. So I think that's an important piece to my belief of our constitutionality.
All right, next, we're going to hear the committee plan by Speaker Pro Tem Marsh.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On behalf of the committee officers and the coordinators, today I'm presenting a redistricting plan for the Tennessee House of Representatives. This concept complies with all state and federal constitutional and statutory requirements and the House redistricting guidelines. This concept is composed of single-member districts. Each district is contiguous. Each district is constituted using 2020 census data and geography. This concept complies with the Voting Rights Act. This concept complies with judiciary interpreted state constitutionality requirements concerning county splitting. This concept protects the sanctity of counties by creating whole districts in each county with a population sufficient to support a whole district, and by preserving single county districts and multi-district counties in those counties which constitute a single district or divide evenly into multiple districts within judicially recognized deviation limitations. And the concept complies with federal constitutional requirements for one person, one vote, as applied to state legislative districts. Specifically, this concept has an overall population range of 9.9%. It splits 30 counties. It includes 7 districts with paired incumbents. It includes 8 districts without incumbents. It maintains the current number of majority-minority districts and creates 2 coalition districts. Finally, at my direction, this concept has been reviewed by the Attorney General's office. At this time, I would ask the committee's attorney to go over the concept generally and district by district.
Mr. Himes?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Representative Marsh. The concept is on the board now, and I would just start this with a little bit of census background. The 2020 census provided a dynamic framework for redistricting the Tennessee House of Representatives. Tennessee's population grew 8.9% from 6,346,105 to 6,910,840. Your ideal district size increased from 64,102 10 years ago to 69,806 now. Of course, the growth across the state was vastly uneven. 17 counties grew by more than 10%. Most of these counties are concentrated here around Nashville in Middle Tennessee. And conversely, 30 counties actually were negative growth, lost population. We only had 8 the last decade. Most of these counties are located in rural West, the Upper Cumberland region, and in Northeast Tennessee. As a result of these demographic changes, essentially a 3-seat shift in representation moved toward Middle Tennessee, which is reflected in this concept. As Mr. Speaker Marsh said, this concept has an overall population range of 9.90%. The high districts being in Montgomery County at a positive 5.09%, and the low district being in Dixon and Cheatham County with a negative 4.81%. There are 30 split counties, 9 in west, 9 in middle, and 12 in east. 7 districts have paired incumbents, 1 in rural northeast, 1 in Knox County, 2 in Davidson County, 1 in Williamson County, 1 in rural middle west, and 1 in Shelby County. Conversely, there are 8 districts without incumbents, 1 in Knox, 1 in Trousdale and Sumner, 1 in Rutherford, 1 in Williamson, 3 in Davidson, and 1 in Montgomery. This concept maintains the current number of majority-minority districts, 1 in Hamilton, 2 in Davidson, 1 in rural west, and 9 in Shelby County. This concept creates 2 coalition districts in Davidson County, 1 of those districts without an incumbent. And of course, I'll stop. Just a coalition district is a district of combined racial or ethnic minorities where the voting age population equals 50% plus 1 person voting age population. Two coalition districts have been created in Davidson County. And surprisingly, in the first time in the years I've done this, 6 districts stayed exactly the same. And that's mostly because of where they're located geographically. With that, if you draw your attention to the video board, I will go over the concept district by district. And starting in Northeast Tennessee, District 3, and I will give you the whole counties, the partial counties, and then I'll let you also know who the representative or representatives are in the district and whether or not they're an open seat. District 3 is all of Johnson, part of Carter, part of Sullivan, and part of Hawkins. Representative Campbell is in that district. District 1 is all located in Sullivan County. That's Representative Crawford. District 2, all of in Sullivan County, is Representative Halsey. District 4 is all of Unicoi and part of Carter. That is Representative Holsclaw. District 7 in Washington County is all in Washington County. That's Representative Alexander. District 6 is all in Washington County. That's Representative Tim Hicks. District 5 is all of Greene County. It's a single county district. That is Representative Honk. Moving westward, District 9 is part of Hawkins, all of Hancock, and part of Claiborne. That is Representative Gary Hicks. District 10 is all of Granger and part of Hamlin. District has a Representative Eldridge and Representative Jerry Sexton in the boundaries. District 11 is all of Cock, part of Hamlin, and part of Jefferson. That's Representative Faison. District 17 is part of Sevier, part of Jefferson. That's Representative Farmer. District 12 is the remainder of Sevier County. That's Representative Carr. District 8 is located entirely in Blount County. That is Representative Moon. District 20 is the second district located entirely in Blount County. That is Representative Ramsey. To the north, District 36, all of Campbell, all of Union, part of Claiborne. It's Representative Powers. District 33, all in Anderson County, Representative Reagan. Turning to Knoxville, and I'll zoom in. Knox County is divisible within its boundary of 7 districts. It was 7 districts. It remains 7 districts. District 19 is all within the boundary. It is Representative Wright. This is one of the districts that did not change. District 16, Representative Carringer, again, all within Knox County. District 89, Representative Lafferty, all within Knox County. District 14, Representative Zachary, all within Knox County. District 18, Representative Manis, all within Knox County. District 15 is all within Knox County, Representative McKenzie and Representative Gloria Johnson. District 90, all within Knox County. It is no incumbent in that district. Moving south, west and south. District 32 is part of Roane and part of Loudon. That's Representative Kelfie. District 21, the other part of Loudon and part of Monroe. That's Representative Russell. District 23, all of McMinn, the other part of Monroe. That's Representative Cochran. Turning to the southeast corner of Tennessee, these two districts that are centered in Bradley County did not change. District 24, which is located entirely in Bradley County, is Representative Hall. District 22, which is all of Polk, all of Meigs, and the other part of Bradley, is Representative Howe. Those districts did not change. Turning your attention to Hamilton County, divisible within its boundary into 5 seats. It was 5 seats before within its boundary. It is still. Those districts are District 30, Representative Helton, District 29, Representative Vital, District 28, Representative Hakeem, District 26, Representative Smith, and District 27, Representative Hazelwood. To the north, 4-district county of Bledsoe, Ray, Sequatchie, and Van Buren is Representative Travis. Proceeding north, District 42 is part of Putnam County. That's Representative Williams. The other portion of Putnam County and all of Cumberland County is Speaker Sexton. District 41, all of Overton, part of Fentress, all of Morgan, and part of Anderson County is Representative Wendell. One of the districts that did not change is District 42, Representative Kiesling. It's all of Scott, part of Fentress, Pickett, Clay, and Macon in their entirety. Moving south, District 40, all of Jackson, all of Smith, all of DeKalb, all of Cannon, part of Wilson is Representative Weaver. District 43, all of White, all of Warren, Representative Sherrill. District 47, all of Coffee, all of Grundy, Representative Bricken. District 39, all of Franklin, all of Marion, Representative Rudder. Moving to the west, District 70, part of Lawrence, all of Giles, and part of Lincoln is Representative Doggett. The other portion of Lincoln, all of Moore, and all of Bedford is Speaker Marsh. Rutherford County grew from 4 districts within its boundary to 5 districts within its boundary. And those districts are District 48, Representative Terry, District 34, Representative Rudd, District 37, Representative Baum, District 49, Representative Sparks, and District 13, which is the new district in Rutherford County. Moving north, Wilson County, the 2 districts that are entirely in the county, District 57, Representative Lynn, and District 46, Representative Boyd. To the north in Sumner and Trousdale County areas, District 45 is all within Sumner County. That's Representative Garrett. District 44, all within Sumner County, is Leader Lamberth. And a new district of the remainder of Sumner County and all of Trousdale County with no incumbent. Representative Kumar is District 66. It's all of Robertson County. It's a single district county. It was a single district county. It remains a single district county. Turning to Davidson County. 10 districts within the county boundary at the beginning of this decade, and 10 districts remain all within the boundary of the county. District 50 is Representative Mitchell and Representative Dixie. District 54 is a open seat. District 51 is Representative Beck. District 60 is Representative Jernigan. District 52 is Representative Clemens, Representative Stewart, and Representative Potts. District 55 is an open seat. District 53 is Representative Powell. District 59, open seat. District 56 is Representative Freeman, and District 58 is Representative Love. To the south, Williamson County and Marshall. District 61, all within Williamson County, is Representative Ogles. District 65, all within Williamson County, is Representative Whitson and Representative Cassida. District 63 is an open seat. District 92, all of Marshall and part of Williamson, the remainder of Williamson, is Representative Warner. Turning to Murray County, District 64 is all within Murray County. That's Representative Sapicki. The remainder of Murray County, part of Lawrence, all of Wayne, and part of Hardin is Representative Byrd. Moving north, Dixon County, part of Dixon, all of Cheatham, Representative Littleton. The other part of Dixon, all of Hickman and all of Lewis, is Representative Curcio. Montgomery County, 3 districts within its boundary. District 75 is an open seat. District 67 is Representative Hodges. District 68 is Speaker Johnson. To the west, all of Stewart, all of Houston, all of Humphreys, all of Benton, part of Henry, Representative Reedy, Representative Griffey. District 72, part of Hardin, all of Chester, part of Henderson, all of Decatur, all of Perry, Representative Haston. District 79, the remainder of Henderson, part of Carroll, part of Gibson, Representative Holford. District 76, all of Weakley, part of Henry, part of Carroll, Representative Darby. In the northwest corner of Tennessee, all of Lake, all of Dyer, part of Obion, Representative Grills. District 82, all of Lauderdale, all of Crockett, part of Gibson, part of Obion, Representative Hurt. In this southwest corner, District 81, all of Tipton, part of Haywood, Representative Moody. District 73, all within Madison County's Representative Todd. District 94, all of Fayette, part of Hardeman, all of McNary is Representative Gant. That's a district that did not change. District 80, part of Hardeman, part of Madison, and part of Haywood is Representative Shaw. And finally, Shelby County. Shelby County had 14 districts. This concept has 13 districts. As I stated previously, theoretically, it can be drawn 14 or 13. It was stagnant in population growth. This concept has a 13 district plan. And those districts are, trying to figure out, starting with the Mississippi River. District 86 is Representative Cooper. District 99 is Representative Leatherwood. District 95 is Representative Vaughn. District 85 is Representative Chisholm. District 84, Representative Towns. District 83, Representative White. District 87, Representative Camper. District 97, Representative Gillespie. District 93, Representative Hardaway. District 96, Representative Thompson. District 98, Representative Parkinson. District 88, Representative Miller. And District 91 is Representative Lamar and Representative Harris. And that is the concept by district.
Thank you, Mr. Himes. Speaker Pro Tem Marsh. Oh, hold on. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion that the committee vote to approve this concept as the committee's recommended plan for the Tennessee House of Representatives. Upon the committee's approval, It is my intent to offer the plan as an amendment to HB 1035 in the Public Service Subcommittee.
All right, have a motion and a second. I think Representative Parkinson has a
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and Councilor Hines, thank you for your presentation. I was kind of reflecting back on what you said earlier about, in our presentation of our map, that it would be deemed unconstitutional or outside of the law because we could create 14 districts. I just want to make sure I got a clear understanding of that, which brings me to my question about the map that's being presented.
Mr. Hines.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Representative Parkinson. I think that the comment that I'm comfortable saying is what's on that printout, which is it appears to violate the provisions of the Constitution.
And due to the fact that, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Chair, do you mind? Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Due to the fact that, okay, because there's a split of Shelby County, and I just want to make sure I understand it clearly, because there's a split of Shelby County, that along with the fact that 14 districts could have been created, would put it outside of the law. Is that how we interpret that?
Mr. Hines.
Mr. Speaker, I think that the two justifications for split one of the big four urban counties may be able to be satisfied by still keeping Shelby County whole.
And
Representative Parkinson.
thank you, sir. And keeping Shelby County whole, that would or could also speak to having 14 districts created in Shelby County. Am I correct?
Mr. Hines.
Representative Parkinson, I think that you can comply with the Voting Rights Act, as this plan does, with 13 districts in Shelby County, or theoretically with 14 districts in Shelby County. They're both within a 10%. If you were to draw either way, you still would be within a 10% range and not split 30 counties.
Okay.
Representative Parkinson.
Thank you, sir, and thank you for that, Counselor. I appreciate the better understanding of that. I'm just a little. I just have a question about, if we have the ability to create 14 districts in Shelby County and still be within the law, and I'm looking at all of these open districts across the state, just not really understanding why or what the rationale is for us to have so many open seats, when we could, keep Shelby County whole and still have 14 and be within the law. And, of course, as this thing works, you push one side of the balloon in and it bulges the other side out. And so I was just wondering if what's our rationale for not having 14 seats in Shelby County, if we can keep it whole and close up some of these holes in other parts of the state.
Mr. Hines.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Representative Parkinson. I think so. At the beginning of what I talked about the census, there was essentially, because of the dramatic growth in Davidson County, there's essentially a 3-seat shift. I have to be careful how I say that.
Right.
There is a shift in seats. Maybe that's fair. I don't know. That bring essentially 3 representational districts to Middle Tennessee. They come from other parts of the state, where they come from. You all make those decisions where they come from. The 13 as opposed to 14, I don't know which is the right answer, but I will tell you that 13 districts is closer to ideal if divided evenly than 14, and reflects the fact that Shelby County had very low growth from 2010 to 2020.
Okay, thank you, Counselor, and thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Representative Wendell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Did the minority party have a role or input in the drafting of this plan? And if so, what?
Mr. Hines.
Yes, Representative Wendell. I've talked to all 99 members at some point since we received the census information. Sorry about that. I think that the degree of input is the way it is every 10 years. It really depends on the coordinators and the coordinators talk to the members of both parties as well. Sometimes in smaller groups, sometimes one-on-one. But every member had the opportunity to know where their house was located and what district it would be in this concept. And many of both parties were able to make modifications. Some did not have that opportunity, but they did know, they had the conversation and saw the plan.
Representative Wendell.
One final question. Did any recommendations made by the minority party end up into the final draft?
Yes.
And if you could, how many recommendations ended up in the final draft?
Mr. Himes.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Speaker. I apologize. Representative Wendell, it's hard for me. I've had lots of meetings over the last several months and continuing until this week, developing this concept. And, the best I can tell you is that many of the requests were able to be I don't know what the right word is. Many of the requests that folks had were included when they could be.
So for the record, members of both parties made requests that were included in the final plan. Is that accurate?
That is accurate, yes, sir.
For the record, did I ask you for any modifications or any changes in the plan for the district I currently represent or will represent?
No, sir.
That's all.
Thank you. Leader Camper.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Hobbs, I want to go back to the question that Representative Parkinson was asking about with respect to the 14 in Shelby County. It's interesting to me that in Knox County, we eliminated a district. 13 was not read on your list. And we moved the one from Shelby County, 90, to Knox County, not to Middle Tennessee where you said the growth was. So if the idea was we would take these seats and move them to where the growth was, I don't understand why we eliminated a seat in Knox County and put two members together and then created a seat from Shelby County, 90, in Knox, and there's no incumbent in there at all. So can you talk to the rationale for that?
Mr. Himes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yes, Leader Camper, I can. There's not a seat eliminated in Knox County. Knox County started with 7 districts. It still has 7 districts. What happened is a number changed. A district, the same number of districts is there. It's just that District 90's number winds up in Knox County, and 13, which you could consider the district that's moved out of Shelby, is in Rutherford County. And reasoning, District 89, which left Shelby County a decade ago, is Representative Lafferty's number, and 90 made sense a little bit closer there than the Rutherford County numbers, which are 30s and 40s. So it was just a reshuffling of numbering.
Okay.
Leader Camper.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay, so we did not eliminate a seat. We renumbered the seats. We took a city member's number away, put them in with someone else, and then created an open seat in Knox County, is what you're saying.
Yeah, there's an open, sorry, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Himes.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yeah, Madam Leader, the 7th district, or the district without an incumbent, stays in Knox County. It is still there. It is renumbered 90. 13 is the new district in Rutherford County.
Leader Camper.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay, I think I understand what you're saying. this map creates a situation where we have a 30 county split. Is that what you said in your presentation? And you also mentioned earlier, if I'm not mistaken, that the Supreme Court decision felt it best to not split if possible, if it at all possible, the least amount, making sure that there's equal representation, that we would not go to that 30 number limit. But in this case, we actually did. And so could you talk about the rationale for, 30 county split versus like in our plan, I think it's 23. And we still gave equal representation. We met within Locker's decision and all of the things that the Constitution requires. Why would we go to this 30 county split if we could have did less than that?
Mr. Himes?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Leader Camper, Locker gives you an upper limit of 30, and it's something that since we had the Locker decision, it's something that we've placed in Tennessee Code as one of our criteria, and it's consistently adopted as one of our criteria, that our limit is 30. While it is true that you can sometimes draft plans with fewer county splits, you have the discretion to get to that limit, and that becomes a policy decision that you make. I would suggest that if you kept in the plan that was presented earlier, if you kept Shelby whole, you wouldn't have 23 splits. You would have more splits. And I think what Lockhart says, keep the urban counties whole. So 23, I think is great number. And I don't know if that is a number that you get to, but for splitting Shelby County.
Leader Camper?
In that same decision or the sequencing of these various decisions by the Supreme Court, it also gives weight to minority representation with respect to the splitting of these counties. Is that true? And so, yes, if you were to keep Shelby whole and you increase the number of splits, then you're leaning more to the minority representation part of the decision. Is that a true statement? I mean, because it did a couple of things, right? It talked about the splits and it talked about minority representation. There's opportunity for minorities to, have a voice. And so they both are probably equal in terms of the strength of those. And so what you're saying is if we kept the minority representation portion higher, then it would be okay to do the split, even though we would go over to 23, which we have in our plan. Maybe I missed that. You understand where I'm going? Okay, thank you.
Mr. Himes?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think, so one of the justifications that Locker gave, the only two justifications, one was to prevent a dilution of minority voting strength. As a reason that you could split one of the 4 urban counties. I think that you can accomplish, this plan accomplishes compliance with the Voting Rights Act without splitting Shelby County. And I think you could do the same with a different plan that did 13 districts in Shelby without splitting the county. And you could do the same with a 14 district plan that didn't split the county boundary. And I think proportionality is not the test for the Voting Rights Act. But I think that in either a 13 or 14 district Shelby County, and looking at the state as a whole, keeping the boundary whole is not there. I was trying to figure out the good way to say this. I don't think that you have to split that boundary. You're not giving up compliance with the Voting Rights Act. You can do both. You can keep the county whole and comply with the Voting Rights Act. And I think the concept that Speaker Marsh is what it does with a 13 district split. I'm not saying that you couldn't do the same thing with a 14 district split of Shelby.
Leader Camper?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate your patience. And so with the map we're talking about right now, how many majority minority districts are there? And what is the percentage of the voting age population for African Americans in each one of those?
Mr. Himes?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sorry. So in the concept that Representative Marsh presented, there are 13 majority minority districts, and there are 2 coalition districts. The 13 majority minority districts are District 28 in Hamilton County. That's Representative Hakeem with a African American voting age population of 53.18%. District 54 in Davidson County, which is an open seat, has a 53.9% African American voting age. District 58 in Davidson County, was Representative Love, has a voting age population African American of 52.11%. District 80, which is Representative Shaw's district in rural West Tennessee, has a voting age African American population of 56.19%. I'm going to zoom into Shelby because it helps me to remember. I don't have the names on my sheet, but I know it. I know it when I see the districts. District 84, which is Representative Towns, has a African American voting age population of 80.04%. District 85, which is Representative Chisholm, has a African American voting age population of 80.47%. District 86, which is Representative Cooper. Sorry, Representative Cooper, is has a minority voting age population African American of 60.81%. District 87, which is you, Leader Camper, has a minority voting age African American population of 71.42%. District 88, which is Representative Miller, has a African American voting age population of 61.09%. District 91, which is the district with Representative Lamar and Representative Harris, has an African American voting age population of 66.61%. District 93, which is Representative Hardaway, has an African American voting age population of 60.61%. District 96, which is Representative Thompson, has an African American voting age population of 53.32%. And finally, District 98, Representative Parkinson, has an African American voting age population of 59.81%.
Leader Camper?
Thank you, Mr. Himes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Representative Freeman?
Thank you. I just wanted to take a moment and recognize Congressman Cohen, who is joining us today. Thank you.
All right, we have a motion and a second for the committee plan. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Plan's approved. It is anticipated that this committee will get back together the week of January the 10th, and for the purpose of redistricting concepts for the U.S. Congress and State Senate. The time will be announced sometime early in January. I'd like to thank the public for attending, for the members in the audience that attended. Leader Camper.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just wanted to make an announcement before we left that the University of Memphis and the City of Memphis will be hosting a reception tonight from 6 to 8 at the Grand Hyatt. All are invited to attend, and that the UT and University of Memphis basketball game is tomorrow at 11 o'clock at Bridgestones. Tickets are available. Go Tigers.
All right. Representative Parkinson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, just for our viewing public and people that are new to the redistricting process, can you explain to them what the next steps are in regards to these maps that were approved by this ad hoc committee,
Mr. Himes.
select committee? I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Representative Parkinson, for that question. So this plan, since it's been recommended by this committee, I'll work with Director Campbell to have it drafted into amendment form, and it winds up being a language amendment that will go on to House Bill 1035. The first stop for it will be the Public Service Committee of State Government, and that in January. After public service, it will go to the full State Government Committee, to calendar rules, and then to the floor. The plan itself, the map that you see on the board, should be by in the next several minutes, hopefully, will be on the webpage of the committee so that folks can see the plan. And then followed by next week with some individual district maps with statistical information as we've gone over, that will be available in a map book form for members of the public to see it. And in between that time, if folks have specific questions about where they live in a district, on the committee webpage is my contact information.
Representative Parkinson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Councilor, will you also explain to the public also that the fact that this is going through the committee process just as a law would go through the committee process, and it's still there's still chances that it can change, if you don't mind.
Mr. Himes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Representative Parkinson. Yes, sir. This is a bill like any other bill. The congressional plan will be a separate bill. The Senate plan will be a separate bill. They all have to be passed by both houses. There's opportunities for folks to have amendments. There's opportunities for folks to have comment during the process. And it will proceed as a normal bill would at the beginning of this session. And typically, these bills are acted on when you first get back in order to give citizens and election coordinators time to adjust what they need to do. Citizens to know whether or not which district they're in, whether or not they want to run for office, and also the coordinators to get all the precinct information and ballot information correct. So that typically is done early in session, and that's sort of the process forward.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank
All
you,
right.
Councilor. Appreciate it.
Leader Lambert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I really want to say on behalf of the committee and the people of the great state of Tennessee, I thank you for your leadership during this process. I was first running 10 years ago when this body was doing the redistricting process, and it was nowhere near as transparent as this. I know technology has helped with some of that, but I truly appreciate both you and the committee's work and the staff's work and everything else that's gone into this, and just the hundreds and hundreds of people in the public that have reached out to folks with different ideas and plans. It's certainly the most transparent process I've ever seen. And I've never remembered in Tennessee's history a time when this was out before Christmas, at least as a proposal. So I really, really appreciate you, Mr. Chairman, getting this out there early so that everybody has an opportunity to look at least what the proposal is. And I look forward to continued discussion. So thank you, Mr. Chairman, for your leadership.
Thank you, Leader. All right. If there's no further business, we stand adjourned.